Hello everybody and welcome back to my Paragon Monolith hero builds, and today we are going to be taking a look at the mighty robotic savior Muriel here, showcasing her. I believe this is the sepia skin if I'm not mistaken. But before I get to the build, let's go ahead and take a quick look at her abilities here so you can get a kind of sense of why I build the cards that I build. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we have here her basic attack is a ranged attack dealing 50 damage, that's whatever. Alacrity here is your right click. Your right click. It gives it basically drops. She shoots an orb that whoever picks it up, including herself, will get a 75 shield and movement speed for 2 seconds. So basically just you can either use that to chase down an enemy or to get away from an enemy. Serenity here you have is another orb that she shoots out. This one's more offensive, dealing damage and doing a slow. However, you can also use it to get away from an enemy that is chasing you or one of your teammates, by slowing them down, obviously. Consecrated Ground also is an AoE bubble that applies a shield and damages enemies within the bubble when it pops a second and an eighth after, or whatever, 1.05 seconds after you cast it. And then her ultimate here, her Reversal of Fortunes. She can fly to any ally on the map. And as soon as you pick the target, as soon as you activate the ability to go flying, they'll get a 350 shield, and once you land, any enemies nearby will get knocked up. So a lot of crowd control there, and as well a lot of shields for your allies. So obviously she's all about buffs and debuffs. She can shield, she can increase movement speed, and she can decrease movement speed. So that's kind of her kit, and let's go ahead and look at my build for her. It is a support slash solo build, although way more heavily geared towards support than it is towards the solo lane. And let's just go ahead and take a look. And I'm gonna explain the build as if I'm in solo lane, and I'm going to just share it in that type of lens. So here, as a Muriel support start, I usually go with the 2 files and a ward. You want to be don't be too stingy with the files. Use them. Don't save them for like that perfect moment, because it's never gonna come. Just use them to just always keep your carry over 75% health and mana. You know, you never want your carry to be low health, because then a gank can come through and they'll be dead in a matter of 1 or 2 seconds. So the more health they have, the higher the chances of them surviving a possible gank are. So that's your first 3 points. Your next 3 points are going to go into circular health here, which is basically just making your job as a support easier, keeping your carry alive during the early phase. And the next 6 points is basically just going to help you do just that, because you're going to be getting the ward next. You get the Guardian Sword next here, and because you actually have a Scout Sword already, you only need to save up 5 points instead of the whole 6 points, because you're going to be replacing the Scout Sword. So save up 5 points, go back in your Guardian Sword and pump it out here. It has damage instead of health, because you need that little bit of base damage there. With almost any hero, really, even support characters, they benefit a lot from having that base kind of 5 or 6 points of damage there. Especially in this early stage in the game, this damage boost slash slight health boost is really gonna make you a threat to whichever offlaner you're facing off against. After you get the Guardian Sword, I went with a Silver Spear here. This is still pretty much early game, right? This is just second 6-point card. And if you count the other cards you have, this is only you're at 18 CP at this point, so it's still really early game. The heal here is going to really help out with the poking game, and that's kind of something that Muriel's really good at. It's pretty much just that poke game, you know. She isn't a burst. She's a caster, but she's not like a bursty caster in that she just wants to drop all her abilities in one sense. She doesn't do that. What she does is she picks and chooses when to activate her abilities to most properly negate damage from the enemies and most properly help her allies deal damage to the enemies. So when you have a bit of health regain here early on, it'll help you peel for your allies, and it'll help you pretty much just stay alive. The extra bit of damage also helps out in the early on to just secure kills and just really make sure that early on you're still tanky, but you're also you know, you can't be pushed over in terms of damage either. You know, the Guardian Sword and the Silver Spear. This will be a good amount of damage early on, and with the other starter card that you have in Circular Health, you'll have a lot of health regain and a good amount of early game health, effective health anyways, to help you stay alive. After that, you go, or I go I should say, is with my two amulets, my two early game amulets here. I have Elder Mage Amulet and Veteran. Elder Mage and Veteran here, both of them give the exact same stats. The only difference is that the Elder Mage gives 1 point of power and 1 point of health up front, versus the Elder Mage just gives 2 points of power of health up front. But other than that, it's the same amount of stats once fully upgraded. So it doesn't really matter which one you go for. You're going to go for both of them anyways. This is pretty much going to be your bulk all the way almost to mid game, because your next couple cards don't really use your bulk all that much, but they do actually help out in other ways. So after you get both of those amulets, you go and you grab your Honor of the Pure. But you see here it has a 4-point Celestial Health. You don't upgrade it. You get the Honor of the Pure, and then the next 8 points go into your Chrono Master Disc. If you saw back at the abilities, her abilities have, I believe, a 9-second cooldown, 10-second cooldown, 12-second cooldown, and then her ultimate is at 130. So the Chrono Master Disc giving you a 10% cooldown reduction is going to reduce all your cooldowns by about a second or more, just under a second and just over a second. And then obviously your ultimate is going to be reduced by 13 seconds. And any Muriel player will always tell you that if only their abilities were off cooldown just 1 second sooner, they would have been able to save their ally. So Chrono Master Disc, that's exactly what that does. Is this will also give you a lot of mana regain. See, it has 3 sparks here, 3 1-point sparks, and the reason why you want to keep it as little as possible is because you want to get that the fully upgraded bonus, right? The spark is nice, but the main thing is the fully upgraded bonus, which is the cooldown reduction. So, and the mana regain is actually very useful on Muriel, because like I said before, she is very pokey and she's very circumstantial, situational with her abilities. So you're gonna have a lot of time in between your abilities, most of the time anyways, to have this mana regain go into effect and just restore your mana back to full health. Okay, so then that's pretty much going to be the early to mid game build there in total, right? You're gonna have the Guardian Sword and Silver Spear, the 2 early game amulets, and then you're gonna have Honor the Pure and Chrono Mass and the disc and the Chrono Disc. and that's, you know, and the reason why I prefer to get Honor the Pure first instead of the disc is because that active, you know, getting that shield pretty much just works as another one of her abilities. So having that pretty much supplements the off time of your abilities, so that if your abilities are on cooldown, you can always just pop in Honor the Pure there as a kind of emergency in between shield of your abilities, right? So yeah, after you get those cards built, all you need to do now is upgrade all your cards. The first card that you get rid of, that you replace, is going to be the Silver Spear, and you pump that up with your Amulet of the Veteran. It's going to be a huge health increase, and the reason why you get rid of the Silver Spear is because the lesser heals, the health regain, and the little bit of power that you get from here, the little bit of mana that you get from here, is not gonna do anything anymore. It's just not worth it's not worth the CP anymore at this point. Remember, this is around mid to, well, yeah, like mid game, late mid game maybe even. So then you get rid of it, you replace it with the Amulet of the Veteran. Then you have like a short pit stop back at Honor the Pure here, and just go ahead and upgrade it for the health, because you need all that health in order to make the tempered play and your Tomb Barrier here, your two defensive cards, be worth it in terms of defense. And the two cards that you're going to be replacing are obviously your early game amulets for your defensive cards. Which one you get first depends on the enemy. It depends which enemy is focusing you, or which enemy is just is fed on their team, which enemy is doing the most work on their team. You play to counter that team, that enemy, you know. And yeah, this is it seems like a lot of health, but you actually do need that much health for that Divine Guard and this Divine Barrier to even really work. So it's a very bulky build. You're gonna be staying alive, you're gonna be able to peel for your enemies, and pretty much just get in the way of, peel for your allies and get in the way of the enemies. It's pretty simple. It's not anything like complicated. If you start in the off lane, instead of doing the files in War Star, you do a token and War Star, and you skip the Circular of Health and just go straight into your Guardian's Ward and your Silver Spear earlier. That's pretty much the only difference between support and solo for Muriel. Other than that, it's a pretty simple build. You got 10 points here, 8 points here, 12, 12, 6, and 12. That's how the CP is broken up. That's 60 CP total. Yeah, so you use all your CP up, and you have a good amount of, you have the cooldown reduction, you have a bunch of health, you have some mana regain with her, which helps, right? Because at most you'll use, I'm gonna say, you might use her ult and then one of her other abilities, and that will usually be enough to save your allies. And if not, you might want to use another ability. But that's only 3 abilities, you know, and that's going from, you know, max mana bar. You have more than enough health, and then at that point you just gotta kind of like play it safe and just wait out to see what the enemy will do, which will allow your spark to really take effect there. Yeah, I mean, it's a super tanky build. You have a lot of health. You have I believe it's, if I remember correctly when I did the math, it's 30 CP of health. And here we have 6 CP of basic armor, and here we have 9 CP of ability armor. And the reason, it seems like a low amount of basic armor and a low amount of ability armor, but you gotta take into account that that every hero has a innate amount of basic armor and ability armor that they get. And not only that, but even if the enemy goes into penetration, they won't be able to penetrate that much armor or that much barrier. right? Because look at the amount of armor you have here. It's 21 from the card itself, and then another 21 from the equipment card. So that's 42 basic armor. How much basic pen? How much CP's worth of basic pen will an enemy have to build in order to counter that much CP of armor? A lot. Too much, in fact, for their build to be effective. I mean, it'll be effective against you, but you know, they won't be able to hit anything else worth of shit. Same thing for barrier here. It's 12, 12, and 12, so that's 36 points of barrier. Which both of these upgrades in terms of armor, which is basic armor and ability armor, pretty much puts you up to 60 in each, around 60 for each. And enemies aren't going to build more than around 20 something points of basic penetration and 30 something points of ability penetration. So which means that your armor will be reduced by half, but that's still good. You're still gonna have about 30 points of ability and basic armor if somebody build penetration, and if they don't, then you have your full 60 points. You know, that's taking into account her base armor as well. You know, she doesn't have that much basic armor because she is a ranged caster, but it's enough. The health is a lot better for just effective health overall, and the amount of armor you have to max out your effective health works pretty well here. So it's a lot of it seems like too much health, but it's actually not. It's right around the sweet spot. It's actually right around the sweet spot. You're almost I want to say I'm like within 5 CP of the max effective health that I can have when taking into account any type of damage, whether it be basic or ability. So that's the build. It's very tanky build. It's very focused on being a very smart Muriel player, not spamming your abilities necessarily, but using them right when they need to be used, and then getting the hell out, right? Because she has a lot of slows, she has a really good speed buff, and she has a shit ton of shields, even more so with Honor the Pure. So if you're able to use her slows, use her buffs, use her shields at the right moment, your allies will be incredibly difficult to kill. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys try out the build, and I will catch you all later.